The Chicago winter had arrived like an uninvited guest, abrupt, merciless, and unforgiving. Icy winds swept through the streets, battering faces and seeping into the bones of anyone who dared to move too slowly. Downtown bustled with hurried footsteps, the scent of roasted coffee beans from street cafes swirling into the freezing air. But while the city moved on, busy, focused, blind, someone sat still. Alina was no stranger to the cold. She had been on the streets for nearly 18 months, but this winter felt crueler. Her fingers were cracked, her lips dry and bleeding. She wore the same coat she'd found in a donation bin last spring, 2 sizes too big. Its stuffing leaking from the seams. Beside her was a cardboard sign, the ink smudged from snow and tears. Homeless, hungry, anything helps. God bless. But most people didn't even glance at her. Some looked through her like she was a shadow. Others turned away entirely, afraid of eye contact, afraid of guilt. She had almost given up asking, until she saw a man walk out of the cafe across the street. He looked important. Clean-cut, tailored coat, leather gloves, fresh haircut. Carrying a hot sandwich and a steaming cup of coffee, he moved like he had somewhere to be, probably a corner office with a view and a nameplate on the door. But desperation gives courage. Sir, could you spare some food? The man stopped mid-step. His name was David Whitmore, a 43-year-old executive VP at a software firm. His life was structured, successful, and sterile. He hadn't noticed the poor in a long time, but her voice, cracked and yet gentle, cut through his thoughts like a knife through fog. He turned to look at her properly, not just the coat or the dirt under her nails. He saw her face, pale, gaunt, but striking. Her eyes were tired, and kind. Without speaking, he handed her the sandwich and coffee. Here, take it. Alina whispered thank you over and over, as her hands trembled from cold and disbelief, but then, to David's surprise, she didn't devour the sandwich. She turned and disappeared down a narrow alley. Curious, David walked closer and peeked around the corner. That's when he saw him, a little boy, maybe 6 or 7 years old, curled up behind a trash bin. His eyes were wide, hungry, scared. His clothes were torn, a hoodie swallowing his tiny frame. Elena knelt beside him, broke the sandwich in half, handed him the bigger piece, then gently poured the warm coffee into the lid and helped him sip slowly. David's heart clenched. The woman he just gave food to wasn't even feeding herself first. She was feeding a child. When Alina emerged again, David approached her, still stunned. That boy, is he your son? She shook her head. No, I found him outside a shelter 3 months ago. He had no shoes. No one claimed him. I couldn't leave him. A pause. He calls me mama now. Maybe I'm not, but I'm all he's got. David was speechless, and you still gave him more than half. I'll be fine. She smiled. Faintly, he needs it more. David stood frozen, a wave of shame washing over him. In all his years of success, promotions, and luxury, he'd never seen such selflessness. He had grown numb to struggle. But this woman, this homeless stranger, had just reignited something in him, something human. Wait here, he said. I'll be back in an hour. Alina gave him a hesitant nod. She had heard that before. People always said they'd be back. They rarely were. But David did return. Not with just food this time. He came back with a coat for the boy, 3 full meals, a backpack of essentials, and a key. This is for a motel. Room 204. It's paid for a week. You two can sleep warm, shower, rest. Alina stared at him, stunned. Why would you do this? David hesitated. Because today, I realized I've been living, but I forgot how to care. That night, Alina bathed Max in warm water for the first time in months. They slept on real pillows. She cried in the dark, not from pain, but from the strange sensation of hope. Over the next few days, David returned. He brought books for Max, a notepad for Alina. He sat and listened, really listened, to her story. He learned she had once been an accountant, that her mother died during COVID, that her fiancé had left when the money ran out, that she tried shelters but couldn't find space for both her and the boy. So she chose the streets. David helped her apply for government aid, pulled strings to get her an interview at his company's finance department. Alina walked into that interview terrified, but when she started talking numbers, balance sheets, projections, the room went silent. She still had it. She got the job. Months passed. Alina moved into a modest apartment. Max started school. He was quiet but smiling more. One Friday evening, David came over for dinner. Alina had cooked. It wasn't much, just soup, bread, and a simple dessert, but it was warm and made with love. After dinner, Max walked over and handed David A crumpled piece of paper. It was a drawing. 3 stick figures, under a big yellow sun. Asterisk, that's me, Max said. And that's Mama, and that's you. Asterisk, David couldn't speak. He looked at Alina, who had tears in her eyes. Asterisk, and then, for the first time in years, David cried. Asterisk, David didn't just help Alina and Max, they helped him. He had been drifting, rich in money, but bankrupt in meaning. But this woman, who once asked him for food, gave him something no one else had, purpose. Asterisk, one day, as they all walked through a quiet park, Max grabbed both their hands and swung between them. Asterisk, are we a family now? He asked innocently. Alina looked at David. He smiled, eyes soft. Yes, he said. We are now. Asterisk, sometimes we think kindness means giving, but often it's about seeing someone, truly seeing their pain, their strength, their worth. Asterisk, David thought he was helping a homeless woman, but in truth, she helped him become human again. Asterisk, so the next time someone asks, Sir, could you spare some food? Remember, what you give might feed more than a body. Asterisk, it might restore a soul.